Yeah, this your big partner Al Cam. You listen to Elation Radio with Kimmy Kim on Jerry West Live. Worldwide jams, vibes, and radio on FavorNetwork.net. Follow them on blogtalkradio.com/Elation Magazine, or you can contact them at elationmagazine@gmail.com. Elation Radio is known worldwide for lifting up people everywhere. So stay locked. We'll be right back after this music. Holla.
So Lara says, you say you've been walking for 30 years, right? Eli says, right. So Lara, have you ever thought that maybe you were lost? Nope, says Eli. Well, how do you know that you're walking in the right direction? I walk by faith and not by sight. So Lara sighs, what does that mean? It means that you know something even if you don't know something. That makes no sense, says Lara. It doesn't have to make sense. It's faith. It's faith. It's the flower of light in the field of darkness that gives me the strength to carry on. You understand? Lara says, is that from your book? Eli says, no. It's Johnny Cash, live at Folsom Prison. This is Khadevis Robinson, and welcome to the Khadevis Robinson Challenge. This week we will talk about a couple of things, and that quote, that section was from the book or the movie called The Book of Eli. And in that section, Eli talks about faith. He talks about walking by faith and not by sight. He's trying to explain that to a young lady who had never read the book, who didn't understand the principles that was in the book. And he was telling her, hey, listen, I've had this book for a while. I've been walking for a long time. And she said, well, you've been walking, but how you know you weren't lost? He said, well, I got faith that I'm going in the right direction. And she was like, well, what does that mean? He said, well, that's like when you believe in something, know something, but you really don't know it. And she was like, that don't make any sense. He's like, well, it's not supposed to make sense because that's exactly what faith is. And in our lives, that's what we have to do sometimes. Sometimes we must walk by faith and not by sight. The first time I read that quote, it was when I got a bookmark from a young kid who's now an adult, actually, named Rex Clack. I've spoken about Rex Clack before. He's a savant now, but at the time when I was working with him, he was 4 or 5 years old, and we didn't know he was a savant. We just know he could play the piano, and he could play it really, really well. But anyway, he was born blind, couldn't see. We had to teach him everything. But it just comes out that he ends up being very, very, very talented, very unique. And like I said, he's a genius in musical terms. And so he gave me a bookmark that said we walk by faith and not by sight. Sometimes I like to, use that same phrase and say we live by faith and not by sight. But whenever we have goals, there's going to come a time when we're facing obstacles and that what we're actually trying to get or where we're actually trying to go, we can't see it. It's too far away. I always like to say you can only see about a mile down the road, but God can keep seeing further and further and further down. So when you're walking by faith, you might not be able to see what's at the journey or what's further down the journey, but God can, and that's what faith is. And sometimes, I'm not talking about, just being optimistic. I'm not talking about just saying, okay, I'm just going to do this and see how it works out. No. I mean, obviously you have to be doing your part. You have to be done did a little research. You have to be done invested in whatever you're going after. You have to be willing to really, take risks. And then once you've done everything that you can do and you got this feeling, a feeling that you can't explain, then you must learn how to walk by faith and walk in the direction that you feel like life or God or the universe or whatever is pointing you in, even if you cannot see the end of the road. Later on in that movie, it was something that was said because, in the book of Eli, who was played by Denzel Washington, had this book. He was protecting this book the whole time. And this girl, Talara, she had never heard of it. She didn't know what it was about. She didn't understand anything about the book, and he started explaining it to her. But it became a point in which he had to give up the book. I mean, he just had to give this book up, even though he had been walking with it for 30 years, even though he had been defending it for so long, he had to give it up. So Solara tells him, she says, I didn't think you'd ever give up that book. I thought it was too important to you. And Eli says, it was. I was carrying and reading it every day. You know what? I got so caught up in protecting that book, I forgot to live by what I learned from it. And so Larry says, well, what did you learn from it? And Eli said, to do more for others than you do for yourself. And it's really that simple. And I think what happens in our lives is that we kind of do the same thing that Eli said he was doing. It's like we believe in certain things so strongly that we grasp onto the belief, but we don't live the belief. You know, the quote says, all the prophets came to point us in the right direction, and we worship the pointer. You know, they came to point us in the right direction and say, this is the direction to go. And instead of going in that direction, we worship the pointer. And that's not to say we weren't supposed to admire the pointer or follow the pointer, but the reality is they were saying you need to go that direction. This is the way to go, you know. And so what Eli is saying, hey, you know, I had this book, and I knew this book was powerful, and I knew this book was amazing, I knew this book was great, and I knew this book could help us, you know, really do some great things. But, you know, I wasn't living exactly what the book was saying. I was just making sure I had the book as if the book was going to protect me, you know. And in that, you know, if in the movie there's two sides of it. You know, Eli has the book, and most people, if you haven't seen the movie I'm going over, most people didn't know anything about the book. They wasn't living during the time, or they never had the opportunity to read the book. There was another guy who wanted the book, right? And nobody could understand it. They could not understand why this guy wanted the book, and they couldn't understand why Denzel or Eli was really fighting and protecting this book so much. So once Eli kind of got away from them, the top guy, whose name is Carnegie, he said, hey, put a crew together. We're going after that guy. And one of his cronies said, for a freaking book? You know, like, we're going to go and try to go after this guy after he didn't defend this book and hurt so many people. We're going to chase this. Let him go. He's not going to live. We're going to chase this guy for a freaking book. And Carnegie said, it's not a freaking book. It's a weapon. A weapon aimed right at the hearts and minds of the weak and the desperate. It will give us control of them. If we want to rule more than one small freaking town, we have to have it. People will come from all over. They'll do exactly what I tell them if the words from this book is right. It's happened before, and it'll happen again. All we need is that book. So this guy understood the power of the book, but the challenge was he decided to use the book in a negative way. Instead of saying, okay, well, I'm going to use this book to do something positive, instead of trying to use this book to do something good, he decided to use the book to do something evil and bad. So he said, I know the power of the book. See, the thing is, they say power corrupts absolutely, or absolute power corrupts. The point is power that he could have that was in that book, but he chose to do something bad with it. Whereas if you look at Denzel, he was looking to say, okay, this book is amazing, but what we need to do is do something positive with it. We all in our lives have challenges. We all have challenges on what decision to make with whatever power God has given us. You know, maybe you're a school teacher, right? Maybe you have an influence over kids. Maybe you're a beautician. You have influence over deciding what hairstyle for somebody to have. Maybe you are a writer and you have a decision on what type of things to write, or you're a poet, or you're a singer and you can sing music that inspire and uplift, or you can sing music that degrade and downgrade people. You know, maybe you're a coach and you have the ability to help people really believe in the goals and dreams they had their entire lives. Or maybe those others might decide to break down. My point is, we all have the opportunity to do good or bad, positive or negative, with our book, our life, which is our goal. And just like that book, we could be a weapon, meaning that, you know, we can be the ones aimed at the hearts and minds of the weak and desperate. You know, we can choose to have control over people and rule over people and make them do exactly what we want, you know. Or we can decide the opposite. We can decide to be a positive light in people's lives, you know, and instead of controlling over them, working with them. Teamwork makes the dream work. And instead of trying to rule over people, you can use it to partner with people. So that movie and those sections is talking about, the choice you have and using the resources you have to a positive light. This section is that, Solara, when Eli was getting ready to leave, right? Solara said she knew he was different than everybody else that was in that town. She said, something's different about this guy. I don't know what's up with this book. I never read it. But there's something about this guy and there's something about this book. And I know how I've been living my whole life so far. It ain't been like this. And I want to figure this out. So when Eli starts to get ready to leave, she tells him, Solara says, I want to come with you. Eli says, no, you don't. Solara says, I hate it here. And Eli says, then change it. And he kept walking. Now, she ended up following him, but that's great. Because a lot of times we in situations in which we don't like, and we think the answer is to run. The answer is to go somewhere else. But sometimes the answer is just to change it. She said she wanted to go with Eli. Eli said, you don't want to come with me because I know how hard it's going to be where I'm going. I know things are not going to get better. Things are not going to get easier. It's going to be really, really tough where I'm going also. But Solara said, I want to come with you because I actually hate it here. And Eli said, you know what, just change it then. If you hate the situation you're in right now, change it. You're not a tree. If you hate the relationship you're in, change it. If you hate the job you're in, change it. If you hate the direction in which your life has been going and is going, change it. Now you're going to say you don't have the power because you're not the boss or whatever. But you know what? You have a choice. Just like the person who gets that book have a choice. You have a choice to decide which way to go with that choice. So, yeah, if you can't make the big decisions, make the small decisions in a big way. If you can't up and just leave and go someplace that is warm, make the place that you're at warm. So if you don't like where you're at now, then change it, or walk by faith and not by sight. This has been Khadevis Robinson. This is the Khadevis Robinson Challenge. My challenge this week for you is to walk by faith and not by sight. Choose which direction you're going to go with your weapon, which is you. I holler.
Stranded, lost, just caught in a daze, branded, an outcast, life has thrown you away, broken, defeated, you can't seem to win, so you cry out, holy, because you need a friend. Stop crying, he'll be there through the night. Stop denying, he's able to change your life. No more hurting, joy comes in the light. I can see you breaking and praying that something will go right. Call on him and he'll set you free. Alpha, Omega, you're my beginning and my end. Father, my Savior, you're a healer and a friend. Master Jehovah, my life is in your hands. I am free. Confused, distracted, no focus to your calling. Your feelings useless, depression has you falling. You're praying, fasting, believing in the chance. So you cry out, holy, you need deliverance. Stop crying, he'll be there through the night. Stop denying, he's able to change your life. No more hurting, joy comes in the light. I can see you breaking and praying that something will go right. Just Call on him, 'cause he'll set you free.
Alpha, Omega.
You're my beginning and my end.
Father, my Savior.
You're a healer and a friend.
Master Jehovah.
You see, my life is in your hands.
I am free. Alpha, Omega.
You're my beginning and my end.
Father, my Savior.
You're a healer and a friend.
Master Jehovah.
My life is in your hands.
I am free.
Oh, I'm free. So glad I'm so glad I'm free. Help me say free. I am free. Nobody's holding me. I made it through my storm, and I can see the finish line. He kept me through. My Redeemer set me free. Said no more chains,
No more chains,
said no more chains,
no more chains,
said no more chains.
no more chains.
Said I'm free,
I'm free,
I'm free,
I'm free.
no more chains,
no more chains,
whoa, no more chains,
no more
whoa,
chains,
no more chains,
no more chains.
Said I'm free,
I'm free,
I'm free,
I'm free.
no more chains,
no more chains,
there are no more chains,
no more
I see
chains,
no more chains,
no more
it looks
chains.
like I'm free,
I'm free,
I'm free,
I'm free.
no more chains,
no more chains,
no more chains,
no more
there are no more chains,
no more chains.
That I'm free,
I'm free,
I'm free,
I'm free.
no more chains,
no more chains,
no more chains.
no more
When I
chains,
look through my life,
no more
I see
chains.
that I'm free,
I'm free,
I'm free,
I'm free. No more
the chains are
chains,
gone,
no more
the chains
chains,
are gone away,
no more chains.
that I'm free,
I'm free,
I'm free,
I'm free.
hallelujah, I'm so glad I'm free, you've been so good.